Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone back to the episode of CS2 News, where we recap all and everything Counter-Strike from the last week, if that's to do with VAC, official CS2 updates, pro news, meta and market changes alongside any and all things CS2. Now, just this last week, players are seeming to report that Premier Season 2 has no new improvements for VacNet 3, iBUYPOWER players are officially unbanned, major CS2 esports orgs have left the scene entirely due to lack of funding, but also misspending, and many other controversies, and well, that's just the beginning. Now, today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a buying, but most notably trading marketplace for all your Counter-Strike needs. SkinsMonkey offers a wide variety of skins. Once you find the item you want, hit trade for either items you currently have or for one of many deposit options. You can use my code MANDO for up to a free $5 alongside a 35% deposit bonus. If interested, the link will be in the description down below. Now, firstly for today's video is the major esport organizations inside CS2 and their recent controversies. Now, first up is iBUYPOWER. I'm assuming most people within the CS community know the iBUYPOWER players, what the controversy was, and of course the team. But for those who don't, here's a quick recap. In 2014, they had a match against Netcode Guides, and they were told if they threw the game, they would get some skins. The only player to not take the skins was Skadoodle, which obviously he went on to win the Boston Major in 2018, and the rest were banned indefinitely. Now, if you think that was fair or unfair, both sides have very valid points and great opinions. But at the time, Dota players were also throwing matches, yet were only getting a couple of months or maybe even a year suspension. So the Counter-Strike treatment wasn't really there. But then Steel came back with the tweet last year stating January 29th of 2025, he would officially be unbanned. And obviously here we are February 2nd of 2025, and according to some pretty reliable sources, him and the rest of the iBUYPOWER players are officially unbanned. But the only two that are somewhat active left in the scene are Steel and Brax. What it do, Henry? Now that they can attend Valve-sponsored events, that being majors, will they actually attend and compete in them again? If that's the case, we also got to keep in mind they're now 10 years older, and maybe they'll just continue down the path they're on right now, where Steel, for an example, is streaming and analyzing CS2, and Brax is playing FPL and Valorant. Now, next up for today's video is, of course, the future post-launch content of Premier Season 2 and Premier itself. So in terms of Premier Season 2, many players in the CS community have now considered this update to be filler, or really not feel as big as Valve made it seem, where they teased about this update months before it happened, and for the first time in history, even sent out a blog post for an update that wasn't even yet to be released. Going into this with Premier Season 2, since it was a little over a year and a half, some thought that VacNet 3 would have been fully released by now, or at least improved in some areas, but right now that doesn't really seem to be the case, as most players right now are just getting their 10 wins to get their final rank inside Season 2. Many reports of those said players in those matches are constantly running into cheaters. Long story short, it's something close that we had before in Season 1. It might be improved in the slightest, but that's just from player reports. Now, I'm in the idea that the changes for VacNet 3 were very minimal, if there was any at all. Cheaters for me, I've only had one to be confirmed out of 7 games I've played, and the rest of my matchups were just bad teams, bad luck, myself not playing well, and of course that's also just my experience. Everyone else's is very different over here in Counter-Strike 2. At the end of the day, I do believe we are moving in the right direction with Valve communicating with the CS community a little bit more, and also hopefully finalizing VacNet 3 and finally releasing the final product, because right now it's still in beta. Now, speaking of post-Season 2 content, players are beginning to wonder if Cache is ready for release, as yes, the new train port to CS2 is great, especially with it now being in the pool, but myself and many other people could probably back this, and I think it's time for some real community maps to flood the CS space once again, that are actually in the pool and that are not going to be maps that players forget in a matter of 2 weeks after they're done playing matchmaking. Now, Cache by FM Pwn has been in the works since early 2024 and has stated it should be ready for release this year in early 2025. If that's the case, when will it release and what map will take its place in the current pool? Well, this is all my personal opinion, but I don't see the map pool changing until late 2025 or early 2026 at the very latest. And I also think it's very much more likely, at least in my eyes, that Valve adds back Overpass before anything new, especially Cache. Now, my reasoning for this is because what we have here is already polished, that being Overpass. Versus a community map, yes, it's known, yes, players are excited about it, but the map still has to be polished, still has to be optimized alongside a bunch more. I'm not saying Cache is not ready, not going to be coming to the pool. It's just going to take time, that's all. Also to keep in mind, when Cache is finalized and ready for release, it has to firstly be added to the workshop, Valve has to buy the map, then it has to be put on CS2 servers, has to be optimized for FPS, bugs, and overall performance, and if the map performs as well as the community thinks, then the devs will eventually add it to the pool. I think right now, for me personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Dust Tube out of the map pool once again and Cache in. For you Mirage haters, we all know you secretly love it when any other new map releases, you automatically ban the new one, and well, you just greenlight Mirage. But for that being said, for Cache to make it into the game, for Valve to buy it, be added to official CS2 servers, and then the map pool, this could take the better half of a year, if not longer, but only time is going to tell. With that aside, let's now discuss the most recent bump within CS2's market. In terms of Season 2, with Valve announcing the change in buff to the FAMAS, nerf to SMGs, and the price reduction of the M4A4, the weapon meta has shifted, and so too has the market. Now, after this announcement, the FAMAS and M4A4 skins were beginning to get pumped, and pumped fast. Following the next couple of days, the update finally released and things went nuts. At the time of this releasing, the market was also broken, so players couldn't list items. So the skins that were left with the FAMAS and M4A4, because of the buff, those skins were already going up. But with the broken market on top of that, alongside FOMO, it seems like the price spikes from the meta changes were 10 times worse than what was intended. Going forward, if you see anything like this, especially with a major weapon change, aside from selling your skins to get that free profit, just be careful. As normally in 2 to 3 weeks time after something like this happens, things usually return back to their normal prices. But closing today's video is the controversy surrounding ITB Esports, that being Into the Breach. Now, they've been making some major headlines these last 2 years. We had a pretty in-depth video from last year for when they pulled out of Counter-Strike entirely, that being due to their lack of funding, but also highly competitive rates for a spot in the major leagues, but also just player rates. Now, with the recap aside, we have recently come to find that the organization has rebuilt their CS team, and it has been reported that management allegedly owes $500,000 to players, while the management says they don't know where the money went, what's going on with it. Meanwhile, those same people are using and buying stuff for their own personal use, and they're all suited up in their designer clothes. But after this controversy released, it really seems like the organization has shut down for good. But with that being said, that pretty much wraps up today's episode of CS2 News. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys excited for Cash? And if you are, which map would you remove for Cash to go in? With that being said, we're going to catch you all on Man on Monday tomorrow morning. Peace out.